is the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Show with John Impemba and James Grande.
What's going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Show. We are looking at the 5-game Thursday main slate here, James, as we approach the final couple of days in the regular season here for the NBA. You and I mean, we only got a couple of shows left here for the NBA DFS season. We're making it worthwhile here. We got Atlanta, Dallas, Sacramento versus the Knicks, Sixers, Heat, Warriors, Rockets, and Nuggets, Clippers on this slate. Who will play? Well, that's for the gods to decide. We don't really know quite yet. We've seen many players ruled in, ruled out, late, scratched of late, randomly ruled in for Joel Embiid the other day. So we'll find out what happens when we get the witching hour here closing into roster lock. But for the sake of the preview show, right now there's definitely a lot to talk about.
There is definitely a lot to talk about. And I think if Wednesday was any indication how these last 10 days are going to go, John, there's just anything is on the table, honestly. Yeah. I would say, fortunately, on this slate, when you look at things, every team is currently projected to make the playoffs. Other than Houston, who, by the way, Golden State, Houston, talk about an important game. That is, I know Houston did all that stuff to get back into the race, and then they've lost a couple games, and Golden State's won a couple games, so it's going to be harder for them. But at least on this slate, seemingly everyone's playing for something, which I think is a lot different than what we've had, especially just looking at Wednesday slate as an example. So I do appreciate that. I think that's a little different than what we've had this week. So at least we have that to look forward to.
Agreed. Taking a look at this main slate, you mentioned these teams all sort of competitive, vying for some spots here, and some good matchups. Now, again, we'll have to wait and see who's going to be in and out of the lineup. So at least for now, 76ers versus the Heat. Heat are giving 2.5 with a 210.5 total. Kings, Knicks giving 3.5 with a 215.5 total. Hawks, Mavericks giving 11, 230.5. Warriors, Rockets getting 3.5 at home with a 228 total there. And then our late game, Denver versus the Clippers getting 3, 218 total. We already know no Kawhi Leonard in that game.
Yeah, I mean, there's some fun games. I think Atlanta's the only team on the second leg of a back-to-back. There's a ton of news, dude. The Knicks are potentially really shorthanded in this one. Yeah. Philly's potentially without everybody again. And we don't know if that's, fake injury tags, because obviously Philly's being investigated for false
right, all sorts of things.
False reporting on their injury report and stuff. Denver faces a really banged up Clippers team that can't stop anybody defensively, and has already ruled out Kawhi Leonard, and they might be without Jamal Murray for a 7th straight game, I believe. Yeah. So the Kings lost 2 of their 6 rotation pieces for the year. This slate is, although it's 10 teams that are, competitive and playoff teams, potentially playoff teams. There's a lot of injury news that we're going to have to.
Yeah, for sure. Let's just get into it. Your top overall price player on the slate is Luka Doncic. He's 12.5. No injury tag for him. DeJounte Murray, $9,800. Again, coming off that back-to-back. De'Aaron Fox, $93. Jalen Brunson, $91. Trae Young here, $9,000. Not on ruled out, rather, here. What does it say he's out? I said, is he coming back? There's no out tag here. It's throwing me off. I was like, wait a minute. Is he activated? What's happening? Not in the board. So Brunson, Fox, Murray, and Luka Doncic here.
So if you remember, way back earlier this year, one Luka Doncic, formerly drafted by the Atlanta Hawks, played said team, and then put up the 4th most points ever scored by a player in professional basketball. Remember that? I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but I'm also not saying that Luka
gets up for these games,
has some type of edge when he plays the team that because I don't know if you saw the clip of when they played the Kings the other day.
The Vladdy Divac one.
The Vladdy, he is clearly like searching for something, right? Like motivation. And Dallas has been really, really, really good. I don't know, just throwing it out there. Like there could be some animosity towards Atlanta here. So not that you need reasons to play Luka,
right?
but I'm just saying, like there's obvious reason to want to play him here. And I'm not a big narrative guy, but I think when you see a player do that to the team and also like do another team that passed on him, like yell, like at them, like there's clearly some motivation there. So getting to Luka's fine. DeJounte at 98, that's fine as well, even though it's the second leg of a back-to-back. De'Aaron Fox, really, really, really slow paced environment, but 9,300 is fine. I like the side way more for Jalen Brunson.
Sure.
Dude, they're potentially without Josh Hart here, potentially without Mitchell Robinson again. Like, no Josh Hart is a big deal for the Knicks. That could lead to a lot more opportunities for Brunson, maybe potentially like on the glass.
Sure.
Not that he's a great rebounder, but obviously just the need for Jalen Brunson to take on even bigger role than he already does. So 9,100 for Jalen Brunson is one of the better, I would say,
and maybe the biggest pace up spots on the board as well.
Yeah, yes, and one of the biggest pace up spots as well. Right.
Yeah, I'm with you. And then no shade on Fox, obviously opposite of that matchup. Where are you going when it comes to the mid tier of the point guard position? Anybody for you that you're specifically targeting here? I mean, you have James Harden, no Kawhi Leonard at 8,200.
I mean, in theory, that's great. And then you look at what's happened to James Harden. I'm just confused on the Clippers side of things in general, because they've looked horrible of late. And I know they've won a couple games, but like their offense has fallen off a cliff. Their defense has fallen off a cliff. Yes, I'm like okay getting to James Harden. We just need to see more than 1 for 3, 1 for 7, closing out on your teammates. I mean, 3 of his last 5 games, he's taken 7 or fewer shots.
Yeah.
I just don't know how like serious he's taking things. Like end of regular season. Like they clearly don't care on the seeding. Honestly, in the West, does it even matter? Like, who knows who's like Denver's the best team in the West, but what if Denver runs into like a hot Luka, right? And Kyrie, and they're just like going crazy. So I mean, Harden's fine. I don't have anything against an 8,200 Harden. I'm just kind of confused at what's happening to James Harden and the Clippers in general.
Okay. You got Van Vliet, Terry Rozier, McBride in this kind of next tier?
Van Vliet in tournaments, Rozier in tournaments. We didn't mention Maxey, but if Maxey were to play against Miami and like Embiid didn't, I would probably have some interest in Tyrese Maxey as well.
Sure.
McBride, 5,900. He made shots again, John. 32 fantasy points again. Like that's just clockwork.
45 minutes again.
Yeah, anytime he makes shots, like there's clearly a ceiling here. So I'm perfectly fine getting to McBride. Reggie was pretty bad the other night. It was a just Jokic, MPJ, Aaron Gordon night, and that happens sometimes. But 5,100, high 20s to low 30s minutes on the table for Reggie.
Uniform on his photo here.
Yeah, and if you remember that one like blow up game when Reggie was the only player, it was him and DeAndre Jordan came in that revenge narrative against the Clippers earlier in the year. So, I'm good getting
3 games against the Clippers. He's averaging 40 fantasy points. So I know one of those games is obviously the huge outlier. Here, right? And even then, like 30 minutes against them, 28 fantasy points here. Where was that first one? Clippers that one. Nope, that wasn't it. This one, 66 fantasy points, 35 and 13. But like he's playing against them and like really sticking it to his former team here.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good getting there. If there's no Jamal Murray, but obviously we won't know. That game is the 10 p.m. window, and there's 2 hours in between every other game and Denver Clippers. So, I'm good getting there. We're just probably not going to know.
Okay. Any other value point guards for you on this slate?
I'm I'm okay with Chris Paul. I'm not like, eh.
Where's Chris Paul?
Cannelo's kind of
I
got
clicked on
benched.
campaign. I meant to click on Chris Paul here.
Well, I mean, campaign is obviously interesting. I think
Yeah.
the rebounds are obviously an outlier. I mean, 10 rebounds with Joel Embiid back in the lineup it is what it is. It's an outlier.
Random guards have been rebounding all season long, right?
They have, but it is like that. I mean, dude, he played 38 minutes the game prior. No Joel Embiid. He had
Had
one
one.
rebound.
I know.
Like that is the 10 or the 1 is not the outlier here in this equation.
Sure.
I'm not saying campaign would be a bad play if all these guys are out. I'm also just saying I wouldn't put it past him to score 20 points, but I'm not going to predict the 10 rebounds again. So Payne, I mentioned it to you last night when we were talking about the Kawhi Leonard thing. Russell Westbrook, 24 minutes, dude. 24 minutes, 14 shots, 20 actual points for Russ.
Sure.
$4,800. Now, I do think there was some luck involved. I think he got a little extra run due to the blowout, and they wanted to get his minutes up.
Yeah, they started Norm for
They
Kawhi.
did start Norm. And then Davion Mitchell, 3,900. It's either him or Keon Ellis on a night-to-night basis. Davion Mitchell, though, 20 and 25 fantasy points in two straight games. I think the offensive efficiency has been the most important thing for Davion Mitchell because, like, he's been terrible offensively for, with all of last year. But 46% now on the year, 56% over his last 5 games, and they're just shorthanded, dude. Like they're just.
Sure. Should you give Lowry a look?
Yeah, if they're without a bunch of their guys for sure.
Okay. Shooting guard position here. Jalen Green, $8,800, your top price. The guy there, Irving and George round out the top 3.
Good with Jalen Green. He's going to continue to take a bunch of shots. This is obviously probably make it or break it for Houston here. Like they have to win this game or it's over because it's a full game swing, right? Against the team right in front of you. So for sure, Jalen, Paul George, terrible game from just everyone on the Clippers. But
I'm not going to hold it against him because he went for 61 the game before that.
Yeah, and no Kawhi again. Paul George is for sure in play.
DiVincenzo, 68.
Yeah, DiVincenzo started off that game really poorly. 51 fantasy points, which is definitely in his bag. More opportunity for him without Hart too. So would love DiVincenzo really in any scenario. And then Oubre is obviously one of the biggest beneficiaries. If like Embiid's out or Maxi's out or if really anybody's out, I would definitely get this from Kelly.
Sure. Duncan Robinson, interesting there. Played 29 minutes last game.
Now with everyone back.
Okay. Norm started for about 5K for him. Played 28 minutes.
Yep, and it would have been more if not for the blowout.
Sure. Any other value names for you at shooting guard?
Yeah, dude, Whitmore played another 23 minutes in a competitive game. That's just going to be his role, right? 22, 23 minutes. Ken Whitmore, shooting guard, small forward. I think that's fine. THJ minutes back up on the rise. Always a GPP play when he's playing mid to high 20s minutes. Also has a very low floor, but it's a good spot. Christian Brown continues to play big minutes, 26, 28, 27 minutes for Christian Brown. I think this ramp up is intentional for the postseason because I think Denver is trying to figure out what their bench is going to be going into the postseason. And I think Christian Brown is definitely in that like 3-man group. So I like the minutes out of Christian Brown. I like the minutes out of Moses Moody. If Kuminga is going to be out, they officially listed him questionable. I know there was comments from Kerr saying that he thinks Kuminga is going to play, but he's still listed questionable. So there's obviously still nothing confirmed. If we see Moody or if we see Kuminga out, Moody's played 20 plus minutes in 4 straight games, $3,800. I think that's like a pretty viable play as well.
Okay. Moving on over to the small forward position. Again, dual positional eligibility for a guy like Paul George. You have Jimmy Butler at 8K, where his price just seemingly stays every single slate. Josh Hart, we'll see if he's in or not. 73. Bogdan, 7K. Toby, questionable, 7K. Thoughts on the small forward position here?
I mean, it's gonna could be same thing for Jimmy. It's hard for me to get there. If you want to get there because he played 39 minutes, that's great, right? The ramp up.
Mhm.
I don't know if you heard the comments from Josh Hart the other day, where Josh Hart basically said like until April, Jimmy's doing all these like side quests where he's doing music and he's like appearing in videos and he's like doing whatever. But then April comes and he's like, there's nothing more important than because that's what he does like every
Yeah.
year. And then suddenly April 1st and he plays 30 or April 2nd, he plays 39 minutes. Like, wasn't this dude just out? Like for
Right.
like, I mean, he's been like in and out of the lineup with an L. Like he's playing 39 minutes with an L. Like, I don't know. So if you want to play him on the premise of like, well, now he's playing max minutes, so he's gonna have a ceiling game eventually, then sure. Especially with Miami trying to get out of the play-in. If Hart does play, I think it's a good spot. If Toby plays and other players don't, I think that's a good spot. So yeah, I think there's interest in most of those guys up there.
Okay. Moving down into the value tier. Again, we've talked some of these guys with dual positional eligibility. Anyone we haven't discussed that you think might be worth a dart throw here?
MPJ coming off a crazy ceiling game, and that happens every once in a while. 16 rebounds. He went 5 of 16 from the floor and still put up a 46 bomb. If there's no Jamal Murray, it's a great spot. I'd want a lot of Denver just how bad the Clippers defense has been post All-Star break. So and there's no Kawhi, obviously that helps. So Michael Porter would be really interesting to me. Wiggins, no Kuminga would be intriguing. Dude, Wiggins has gone for 30 plus fantasy points in 4 of his last 5 games. $5,800. If there's no Kuminga, I think Andrew Wiggins would be appealing.
I like the Wiggins one, yeah, for sure.
I think it's kind of Kuminga based. I know he's playing 30 minutes, but like it's not
everything else increases when Kuminga's off the floor.
Yes, everything else increases when Kuminga's off the floor. Haywood Highsmith did it again the other day against the Knicks. He's just playing himself into more minutes. It just is kind of what it is. He's been.
I feel like the moment I put him in my lineup, he goes back to being
seven. Yeah, 7 fans. And it's a fair shout. But here's the interesting part. No Josh Hart. I assume it's Precious, but
you think it could be Bojan?
Bojan is $3,600. I would, if there's no Josh Hart and no Mitchell Robinson, I would definitely take a stab at some Bojan Bogdanovic.
Let's see here. Did Josh Hart? He played all that game anyway, so he didn't get hurt in that game. He played every minute of
46 minutes.
Josh Hart played the final 24 minutes of this game.
Yeah,
actually, I lied. He played the final 36 minutes of this game. That's a lie. He played the final 38 minutes of this game.
That just progressively got crazier
He played the entire fourth, third, second quarter, and the final 2 minutes of the first.
So when did he sub? So when was exactly he subbed out?
He subbed out at the 4-minute and 37 mark of the first quarter and subbed back in at the 2-minute mark of the first quarter and never sat again.
Okay. Got it.
Yep. All right. Power forward.
And did he? And now here's the question: when all that happened, did he sprain his wrist during or after?
Who knows?
Like the guy just has a sprained wrist playing through.
I mean, he only took 3 shots. Maybe that's why he only took 3 shots. His wrist was hurting, right?
Very fair point. It's a very fair point.
What did Jalen Johnson start tonight?
He did.
All right.
Jalen Johnson, John. Funny you asked. Did Jalen Johnson start? Do I know what Jalen Johnson currently has in the fourth quarter of this game?
Some sort of double-double. I'll say 18 and 10.
You are wrong. He has a triple-double. He has 19 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists. He also has 4 steals and a block over 33 minutes and counting. Not the most impressive line in that game. That's because Malachi Flynn has 43 actual tonight. Thoughts?
I have a rookie Malachi Flynn card. Maybe I'll sell that tonight.
Malachi Flynn has 43 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. So anyone that predicted Cade Cunningham would be scratched and Malachi Flynn would be scoring 43 off the bench, you would win a prize.
That is unbelievable. He scored 43 off the bench in a game they're still down 11.
Yes, and I mean 43 and counting, by the way.
Yeah.
He just scored again. So Jalen Johnson also just hit 3. So Malachi Flynn. It's a back and forth affair between Malachi Flynn and Jalen Johnson tonight.
All right. Well, Jalen Johnson, $6,900 would be a good play.
I cannot believe his price is decreasing.
Dropped $100.
Dude, he is going to be one of the more popular plays of the slate. In a pace-up spot against Dallas, coming off a game where he started triple-double, just scored again. I mean, dude, it's like...
Or he sits because he's coming off an injury and it's back-to-back.
True. And they're like...
Jabari and Draymond are here at 64 and 63.
Yeah, GPPs. One we don't know how to predict score, and one gets thrown out of games.
Sure. PJ Washington's $5,300. Mentioned Precious. Got the Miami guys. What are you thinking?
PJ's looked pretty good without Derek Lively in the lineup, so I'd be okay there. Yeah, I don't know why these Atlanta guys are showing not out, because Onyeka and Kongwu is also out, and he's not showing out here, so that's interesting. PJ for sure, 5,300 is a good play. Martin's minutes cut down. Jovic's minutes were fine. Probably gets mid-20s if you want to play him. I think maybe the biggest beneficiary to all these Kings injuries is Trey Lyles. $3,600. We've talked about this a lot. Like, he plays a bunch when he makes shots, but he was playing over like Harrison Barnes the other day, and no Malik Monk and no Kevin Huerter. They just need bench scoring, and they need scoring in general. I think Trey Lyles is a very, very intriguing play. Where was Keegan Murray, 61? Keegan Murray as well, 6,100, is just going to be asked to do a lot. I think the Kings, although like not a good spot, I think just how shorthanded they are moving forward without two like key rotation pieces.
Sure.
Guys like Trey Lyles are going to be asked to do a lot, and Murray as well.
Okay. We went over some of the value plays. Probably nothing else, right?
Is Precious still a power forward?
He's 4,300.
If there's no Josh Hart, I'd assume we get Achua in the starting lineup.
Okay. Center position then. Questionable tags on Jokic and Embiid here. Embiid in his return played 29 minutes, had 45 fantasy points because he's really good. Joker, no Jamal Murray here, keeps doing the thing. 77 fantasy points for himself.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much seeing Embiid play 30 minutes in his return. What is he going to play game 2? 33, 34, 35?
At least 30. They might just keep him at 30 for a couple of games here, but it's also
Nick Nurse. If we get word from Nurse that there's going to be any sort of ramp up here, then I'm interested, because 45 fantasy points in 29 minutes is very good. And he's obviously $900 cheaper than Jokic.
Sure.
If we get Jamal Murray news early, Jokic or Luka as your top, or Jokic or Luka as your top scorer?
Jokic, I think.
Yeah, it's just such a.
He's cheaper, and he has the same ceiling as Luka at that spot.
Dude, 1.9 fantasy points per minute without Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
Like, it's
back-to-back games, 78, 77 fantasy points. So sign me up.
Agreed.
Mid-tier centers, Jackson Davis, Capella, Bam. Not to overlook Sabonis at 10-2 in that same ilk. Zubats had a big night the other night. Gafford here, if there's no Lively, we know the minutes will be there for him. Like, where are you targeting in the mid-tier?
Yeah. Sabonis had been very disappointing for like a handful of games. Then comes back with 20 and 9, which is quite good. So if you want to get to Sabonis, by all means do so. I'm sure he'll be the lowest owned of like the spend ups,
sure, considering
the pace down spot, but that doesn't always matter for centers, especially someone who handles the ball as much as he does. Capella 65 on a back-to-back. We'll see what the minutes look like. They were great the last back-to-back. Played 33 minutes against Boston on the second leg. So no reason to think the minutes aren't there. Let's see
right now. He's at 30 right now. So they're playing Capella with Johnson here. So
And another double-double for Clint. Oh, Malachi Flynn has 50. Update. He has 50
Good.
actual.
Hope he goes for 70 tonight.
Well, they're only down 5.
That's what I'm saying. He's bringing them back. So
I don't think it's possible, just given like the time of this. But we'll see.
hey, listen, we saw what was it? Tracy McGrady scored like 12 points in
9 points in
whatever it was,
3.8 seconds or whatever it was. 8 points in whatever it was. If there's no Kuminga, like Jackson Davis, I don't love 6K. I'd probably just play Zubats or Gafford.
Okay.
Or potentially Hartenstein if Mitch Rob doesn't play.
Yeah, Mitch Rob only getting low minutes there.
Paul Reed. I would definitely have some interest in Paul Reed. There's potentially also no Mo Bamba in this game. So like if there's no Mo Bamba and no Joel Embiid, I would definitely click Paul Reed 46. I know it's a tough spot, but he's a good fantasy point per minute guy.
Okay. Anybody else at center for you?
Derek Lively's out. I don't know why he's not showing out. So just
he shows out when you click on him, but he's not showing out just on the screen.
That's interesting. I don't think so. Peyton Watson played 20 minutes in back-to-back games, 20 fantasy points in each. That's kind of what it is, right? He's going to play 20 minutes off the bench. That's just, but I don't think we need to go any
further. We both agree that Joker is where we want to go here. Now we need the value. Plug in some Norm here.
Yep.
Let's see, Norm. What else did we want to do?
In terms of value?
You like KCP?
Yeah. He's fine. Okay. Like he has those random pop games.
Okay. I mean, I guess if we're playing the Joker, we feel like it's going to be Reggie Jackson here.
Yes, probably. I'm very Trey Lyles. I think is pretty good value.
Okay. Lyles, power forward, 61 for a small forward. DVV in there. $5,800 for guard McBride. Get the minutes. 5,800 still for a forward. Do we just go full Knicks here? You like Keegan Murray? Did you want to go Keegan Murray here?
Trying to see if there's like maybe
or
PJ. Oh yeah, Jalen Johnson.
And Russell Westbrook. There you go. Yep. Example lineup for everybody. Of course, we'll have updated news here at the 5:00 live show. Reggie Jackson, Norm Powell, Dante DiVincenzo, Trey Lyles, Nikola Jokic, Miles McBride, Jalen Johnson, and Russell Westbrook. Be on the lookout for the playbook for this Thursday main slate. And again, James now will be live at 5 p.m. Eastern. We'll give you all the latest news and updates as it comes through. But for now, everybody, we'll catch you later.